Then when more people start joining, then I will start answering those questions as well. Let me maybe just grab a tea and then I'll start because I'll be doing a lot of talking. So I need something to drink. Voila. All right, all yours. So, tiny traveler. That's probably like this big traveler. Hi, my question. My family has long-term residence permit with card, but they are now back in home country. So if I change home address now and didn't submit proof of accommodation for my wife and kid, so can the visa be cancelled if they fail to submit a new proof of accommodation? I would take a small house and owner only give me a contract. Well, don't do that in that case. If you know that they will not give you anything for your family, then definitely don't move there because yes, that will be a problem. There is no problem with you changing the address for your family while they're not here. That's not a problem. They don't need to be here to change the address, so you can report it on their behalf. But if you change your address and your family doesn't, then it could potentially create trouble because if they are here under family reunification, so you say that you live together as a family, but each of you has a different address, that's gonna be a problem for the ministry. So I would definitely not recommend moving to a place where you cannot get any official documentation for your family. From this perspective, or because of this, but also because like not having a lease is not really a good thing for you to do anyway, because if they kick you out or if they don't return your deposit or if they just like start coming visiting you every like night, what will you do without a contract? So definitely I would not recommend moving into a place where you cannot get an official documentation for your family. Tiny traveler. Arvinda, hi Jan, how are you? I'm good. How are you, Arvinda? So more questions, guys, please. I know it's a bit different time than what I do usually. Even though on Thursdays I do it like this because I have somewhere to be from 6 o'clock every Thursday. So I usually do it a bit earlier. But now it's a bit more early because usually I have to rush. I start at 5. And I always say like 20 minutes live stream, 20 minutes of your questions, and then I do 30, and then I'm like almost late for the thing I have. So I started sooner or earlier today so I can answer more of your questions. But that requires you to have some questions. So guys, please write your questions into the chat and I'll be happy to answer them live. Because if no one's gonna have questions, I'll finish the live stream and I'll go. Or I'll be just drinking here my tea and you can watch me drink tea, which is probably not why most of you are here. Some of you might. There are sometimes people who tell me how beautiful or handsome I am and stuff like that. So I appreciate that, and I'm happy you're here on the live stream as well. Might be more useful for everyone if you have some questions related to the Czech Republic, immigration, visas, residence permit, citizenship, accommodation, health insurance, starting a business, or anything around these topics. So, Kumar. Hi Jan, how are you? Is it true that if couple, non-EU both, having child here, government gives something in installments in 3 years? Honestly, I'm not sure if it applies to foreigners, but yeah, there is a support for children, like newly born, and you can decide in how many. There is a fixed amount. I'm not sure if 350,000 is the exact number. It might vary as well, I think. But yes, then the government gives you this amount of money and you can choose in how many installments you want it. Generally, you can choose like a year or 2 or 3, and then it depending on that, they pay you the money so you can take care of the child. But honestly, I'm not really applies to foreigners because this is not part of the services we provide. So I cannot answer that. But yes, generally it is here in the Czech Republic, just not sure if for non-EU citizens as well. Tiny Traveler, okay, thank you. Another small query. if I temporarily pause my kid's insurance premium for more than 6 months, so will it affect kid's visa when he tries to return? Hope you understand my question. Yeah, well, I would be more worried about the family not being here for like a year or something, because that's not fulfilling the purpose of their stay, and then their residence permits could be canceled because of that, because they have family reunification visas to live here with you, but they are not here living with you, so that kind of nulls the purpose of the residence permit. If they want to be in the country of origin, they don't really need to have a Czech residence permit for that. So I would be more worried about that than canceling the insurance. Of course, canceling the insurance might be one of the ways for the Ministry of the Interior to find out that they are not here, but your family must be insured when they are in the Czech Republic. They must have insurance during the whole validity of their stay. So if they are not here, technically they don't need to have a local insurance. So the insurance itself is not a problem, but I would be careful with the stay outside of the Czech Republic for extended period of time. Many official, what about Czech Republic seasonal work visa? No, guys, don't ask me about that anymore. I hate that. I think seasonal work visa is the biggest scam in the Czech immigration. I honestly, maybe there was a good intention behind that, but I haven't really seen or worked with anyone for whom it would work out well. I'm not saying that everyone who tries to apply for it and end up like being scammed, but I would say you have like 90% of chances that whatever was promised to you is not gonna be that way. So seasonal work visa, I don't really recommend anyone applying for that. Czechia with Dr. Moxin. Okay, that's kind of like a competition, I feel. Hi, I'm living and working in Czechia as a scientific researcher. Well, what are future prospects to get PR and working in the university as postdoc? Yeah, you can get a PR. That's not a problem. So you just need to fulfill all the other requirements, but it doesn't. If you work as a scientific researcher, it doesn't like nulls your option for the PR. You can still get it. You just need to meet all the requirements. More questions. I need more questions, guys. Czech Republic seasonal visa is Schengen visa. Technically, well, it depends on which one you talk about. If it's a short-term visa, then it's 3 months, and then it depends for what countries they give it to you. If you apply for the maximum validity, or like more than 3 months, let's say the maximum validity is 9 months, then it should be a long-term visa for the Czech Republic, and that should allow you to travel to other Schengen countries for 90 days, up to 90 days. But that doesn't mean that you can work there. It doesn't mean that you can move there. So the visa is specific for the Czech Republic. Ala Omar, hi, I applied for the employee card in Brno. They did not, you applied outside of the Czech Republic? I'm just joking. They didn't give me the paper with the application number to check the status of the application online. Do you think they forgot it? Well, maybe they forgot it. Maybe they didn't give it to you on purpose. In some, at some branches of the ministry, you need to specifically request it. Otherwise, their general setup is not to give it to you. So you need to keep this in mind yourself. That you should always request it. You should also have like not the number itself, but a confirmation of submitting the application, because that's your only proof that you actually submitted the application. Imagine you submitted your application in time, and like once your current visa or residence permit expires, the ministry will tell you, okay, we've never received the extension application, so we are deporting you. And what will you be doing then? Like, but guys, I went to the ministry and submitted the application. I just don't have any documents proving that. So definitely, guys, keep it in mind and request the confirmation of submitting the application always. And then you always also get the application number, which is in the top left corner of the document. If you don't have it now, that's okay. You can call the line of the ministry, the info line, and ask about the application number. So that's fine. You can get it anyway. But always make sure that you get it when you're submitting the application, ideally. Kumar, Flexibus service hiring foreigners, drivers who are residing in Czech Republic. Is it okay for them if they drive to outer EU country? Because as I know, You can visit in the EU, live there 90 days, but without work. Well, this might be a bit complicated question, because that's cross-border workforce, and that's very complicated, can be very complicated. I definitely don't have like the full knowledge of that. Generally speaking, in most countries, it works the way that if you're a driver, you are not really considered like working in that country, because you're just like driving through and you stay there for a day or two tops, like if it's a long country like Germany or France. But you are not actually like working in that country, meaning that you don't pay taxes there, you don't have a local employer, you're still employed by the Czech entity and you travel like that. So, but it can be different in different countries. So ideally you should ask these kind of questions to them, because they should, like, to Flexibus, because they should be aware of that more than me. Money official, sir, for how many months seasonal visa will be? Stamp. It depends. There are two options, either a short-term seasonal work, and that would be up to 3 months. That would be the standard short-term visa, or up to 9 months, like 3 to 9, or like one more day than 3 months. So like 91 days, up to 9 months. And that would be the long-term visa version of it. It cannot be extended. It cannot be switched to anything else, really, like to a blue card potentially, but that's not very likely. So it's kind of, you come here for whatever amount of time you got it, and then you have to leave, and then you have to try again if you want to come here again. So that's another reason why I don't really see that as a viable option for anything. It's not like to move here. Okay, if you want to experience the Czech Republic, come here for 6 months and like work a bit and like earn no money, because I'm sure you will pay more to the agent who will get you the employment contract and the accommodation, and then the salary is not gonna be that great, I think. So you will probably like you spend as much as you earn. So if you want to enjoy the Czech Republic for a couple months, might be a good option. But if you see it as an entry point to the EU, that's not really how it works. And this is what many scammers use for you. They will tell you, get the seasonal work visa, then we will switch you to a residence permit or something. That's not how it works. So that's just like a bullshit, and you will end up like having to leave or overstaying, being deported, and then like never coming back again. So that's the worst case scenario. Either way, I would probably not risk that. 27 people watching, no questions. That's weird, guys. Are you just enjoying my presence or what? Ask your questions. I'll be here for another 7 minutes or so. Maybe 15. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how many questions there are. Chatura Diaz. Hi, I'm living in Saudi Arabia, more than 4 years, Sri Lanka national. I recently received the work permit for Czech. I'm waiting for embassy appointment. Is it possible to get appointment in Saudi? I would need to double check if there are quotas or not. I don't think there are. So it might be possible, but I would need to double check that. I don't know from top of my head, because there are like 40 embassies where there are quotas, and the quotas are different, and I don't remember all of them from top of my head. Money official, thank you, sir. Could you tell me best supporting documents for seasonal visa? Well, you need to have all the documents you must have. So the official list, I'm not aware of any like additional documents you would need on top of the official list. So application form, passport size photos, proof of accommodation, employment contract, criminal check. Basically, that's it. What is the easiest way to learn Czech language? Practice. I have pretty like, I would say, specific view on learning languages. I think, or a couple things. First thing, I think that if you want to do something, you can do that. So all the things like, I don't have time and it's difficult, Czech language is so difficult, that's just bullshit excuses. That might work for someone like who is mentally impaired and they cannot learn languages at all. Okay, but if you're like a normal person healthy person, there is no way you cannot learn another language. Of course, might be more difficult for some people, easier for some people, but everyone can learn a new language, including Czech. So that's my first opinion. Second, though, is that why it might seem that difficult for you is the way you learn. Because if you imagine a child, they don't learn from like textbooks. They don't learn from like a grammar. They just like hear it, repeat it, and later on they understand it. It takes time, but usually kids start speaking when? Like 3, 4 years of age, 5, 6, 7, when they speak like fluently. So if you do it the same way, I think you can like easily, or maybe not easily, but you can definitely learn Czech. So I would do it this way. You just need to practice. Like, it, like assign a time in your calendar for like practicing. Like put it into the calendar for every week. Up to you. You can start with something small, like 15 minutes a day or whatever, and then find ways how to learn. You know, in these 15 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever, just find a way to learn. Like call a colleague from your job and say, hey, can you please talk with me in English? Or watch a video with subtitles, or read something, or do it the traditional way, like have a textbook. There are plenty of online courses on YouTube where like there are Czech teachers for free, all that. So I would just say dedicate the time, really start working on it, make it part of your like weekly routine, and you'll get there. Just the practice, in my opinion, is the best way to learn. Money Official, you're great, sir. Thanks. My pleasure. Happy this is helping. Dhaval Parmar. I don't know why I do this accent. Sorry, Dhaval. I got a rejection in appeals, so if I apply third time with proper preparation, is it possible to get the visa this time? Study purpose depends why you were denied. Like, of course, the more times you get denied, the worse it gets. Officially, the results of the previous applications should not affect the new visa application. In real life, of course, the ministry sees everything in the system, sees all your history, so it will influence the process. Depends why you got denied, you know. If there were some documents missing or incorrect or whatever, okay, that's fine, that's repairable. If you said some stupid things during the interview and they denied it because they don't believe that you really want to study here, potentially that might be the same outcome the third time. So hard to say, depends on why you were denied. Mohammed Saeed, hi Jan, I had second interview at Czech Embassy today for 90 minutes for family reunification visa. It went very well. How long normally taking time? Have final decision from ministry? That very much depends on... I already read the next comment from Daniela. That's weird. Anyway, I'll get there. So yeah, it depends. If the interview, what happens after the interview is that you did the interview, the embassy makes a transcript of the interview and then send the transcript to the Czech Republic. So there is always a delay between the interview and when the decision maker actually gets the documents. Then they need to go through it, so they need to read the whole interview, the whole transcript, and then they make a decision based on whatever they wanted to find out. And then I would generally say the approval will take less time than denial. So if it's been taken long, it's more likely that you get denied, but there is no like hard line, you know? So I would say 2-3 weeks probably might take the approval. Denial will probably take longer. So this is the answer. Daniela Kolouchová, hele, co je zač, kam patří, na tohle nemám čas, běž už radši spát, mluv spisovně, to snad mluvím arabsky. A úplně nechápu, o co tady jde, Danielo, ale jestli máte nějakou otázku, tak se klidně zeptejte. This is always like this, that some Czech person comes here and just like shares hateful comments because they have like hateful view of the world and then they leave. So Daniela is saying something, I don't understand what, but I do understand the words, I just do not understand the meaning. Anyway, Chathura, thank you, sir. You're welcome. Yeah, okay. So this is the classic. This is the classic Czech way. Daniela says, who would be learning Czech language? This country is shit, and only like it's expensive and it's like ugly and everything. So Daniela, no one keeps you here. You can move wherever you want. So if you don't like the Czech Republic, feel free to move somewhere where you like it more. Or maybe, just maybe, an idea, try to do something about it. Maybe instead of bitching and whining, maybe try to make a difference. That could potentially help, but I know it's a bit more complicated than just like coming to a live stream and shouting how like everyone else's fault is destroying this country. But maybe give it a thought. Kumar, my current employer is selling his business to other. That means my employer will be changed with other name. Will it be okay for me, or do I need to go to the MOI for changing name of employer? Well, it depends on what exactly is happening there. If just the owner changes and the rest stays the same, so meaning that the company name stays the same, the business number stays the same, everything stays the same, just the ownership is different, that doesn't matter. If the situation was different, that for example, two companies would be merging and then the business name or business number would be different, then yes, then some steps would need to be taken. But it depends on the situation. So I would need to know a bit more about that. If it's just like changing the ownership, that should be okay. Kolouchová, já si myslím, že jsi vztahovačný. Super, děkuju za názor. Ahmed Hassan, I'm in accredited and I will transfer to another accredited course. Do I need to extend my visa or do I need to apply for a new visa? Do I need to have an appointment and I need to know if it will take a long time to have this visa appointment to apply for my extended visa? Well, it depends on when you do it. If you do it like that, you will start from the next school year, that's fine. So you can just extend the residence permit with documents from the new course. That should be fine. If you stay, like if you go from an accredited to an accredited program, that should be okay. So you proceed as with a standard extension. If you were starting like you finished today, but your next course would be starting like in September next year or this year, next year would be worse, but this year, or if it was like changing from accredited to non-accredited or the other way, that would be completely different. But if you're like, if you finish one school year and then from the next one you go to a different school, that's fine. You just do the same extension as normally you would do. Ray Mac, but with mustache. What's going on? Anyway, this thingy. Will having a short-term visa first to visit Czech helps in getting long-term visa later. Well, in the Czech immigration, I kind of don't really like saying something for sure. Okay, like this is how it will be, because for two people in exactly the same situation, the outcome can always be different. And even for the same person, same situation, just 2 months later, it can be different. So there is nothing like certain in the Czech immigration, which on one hand is kind of difficult to deal with. On the other hand, good for us, you know? So it's hard to say like definitely one thing or definitely this will happen. But generally, yes, it can help, because if you've never been to the Czech Republic, if you've never been to Europe, and now you're like suddenly applying for a business visa, it's kind of weird. You know, because there is no history. Technically you know nothing about the Czech Republic because you've never been here, you've never had a visa. So that's a bit discriminating already for your long-term residence or long-term visa. So generally, yes, if you come here, you get a short-term visa first, then you don't overstay, you don't make any trouble, then you leave, maybe get another visa, come here again. then it's a better grounds for any future like long-term applications, because you could say, yeah, I first went to the Czech Republic just as a tourist, but I saw that there are these kind of business opportunities. Then I left and I came back again to like explore more about the opportunities. And now I'm applying for a long-term visa with business purpose of stay, because I've done my research, I visited a couple times, and I see like a really great potential for this kind of business. Makes the application definitely stronger than if you've never been here. And I chose business because that's kind of the directly like connected, and it makes the best sense. But it could help with other applications as well. So generally, yes, it can help, but it depends on the circumstance. If you come here, get a short-term visa, and then you overstay even for one day, or you make like some crime, commit a crime or something, then it definitely will not help. So it depends on the situation. Sam Clark. Can a UK citizen move to Czech easily and work as a digital nomad, or do I need a reason to be there, such as girlfriend, family? That's another difficult question. So like you're in for a long lecture now, Sam. Digital nomad option is there in the Czech Republic for British citizens. It's there. It's been there for like 1.5 years only. That's a very recent thing. And it's limited to only like 8 nationalities now, I think. But it's also limited to IT and marketing. So if you're not in IT or marketing, you cannot get the digital nomad visa. So if you have like investments or some passive income or whatever, doesn't apply. Or if you do something else, like online. So if you're in IT and or marketing, you can potentially get the digital nomad visa. As for like being simple, not really. But if you work in these 2 fields, it's possible. Then the question also is, though, if you want to stay like longer, a couple of years, let's say, or not. Because the digital nomad visa is a new program. We had some applications like when it started. So now we are at the point when with some clients we are applying for the first residence permit ever, basically. When we went to the ministry actually like a week ago with a client, they've never heard about the digital nomad residence permit there before. So we had to explain how it works, and then the person at the counter had to ask their supervisor. They didn't really know either, but they're the supervisor, so they made a decision. So it was kind of fun, and it's always like that when there is something new. So the reason I'm saying this is that at this point we don't know how exactly it will work, if it will be possible to renew it a couple times, or if the program will be completely like disabled, let's say, after a couple months, couple years. No one knows at this point, because now we're still like in the very first phases of people staying here as digital nomads. So that's I'm sorry, Daniela always makes some comment there, and I just have to read it because it's just so weird. So I get distracted. Sorry, Sam. Anyway, back to the topic. So it's possible if you're in marketing or IT. I would not say easy, and also with a questionable future. If you wanted to move here like for a long time, maybe some other type of visa or residence permit would be a better approach, because there is some clarity and there are some rules which if you follow, you can stay longer. With the digital nomad, it's kind of questionable about what will happen later. Daniela, stačí být jenom poctivý, byl to francouzský zážitek. Vůbec netuším, k čemu se to stahuje, ale dobrý, zvyšuje mi to tady dosah a návštěvnost toho streamu, takže děkuju. And the last question I'll answer will be Enduta and Gere. Mispronouncing, definitely, sorry. But that will be the last questions, then I need to run. Hi sir, I'm from Nairobi, Kenya. I'm about to go for my visa appointment. Kindly, does study gap matter? I finished my high school in 2017. I'm going for bachelor's program. It can have some influence, like for example, you cannot get enrolled into the student mode if you have like a long gap there. But in general, well, again, that's kind of a complex topic. It can influence the process, but then it's up to you and what's the situation. Because if there is a gap and you cannot really explain why there is a gap and now why you want to go back to school and why in the Czech Republic, that can influence the decision like in a bad way. But if there is a gap, but you can explain it, you can explain why you took the gap, and now you can explain like why you want to study again, what you want to do after you finish your studies, and also like why in the Czech Republic with this particular course and not all the other million schools that are in the country of your origin itself, plus all around the world. So why you chose exactly this program. If you can explain that well, then it doesn't mean that you will get denied just because you have that gap. So I would say it's more about like how realistic is your story, how true is your story, and how you will be able to explain it to the embassy. I would recommend you to go to my channel and check one of my videos, which is about the student visa interview, where I go deeper into the topic, like what they want to see, what kind of questions you should expect and all that. So guys, that was the last question. I see the Allfinity, I guess. I'm not sure I can do that. I'll just answer that like briefly, but I'm already finishing the live stream and leaving. So let's see. Is there a visa where you are not obligated to work as an employee of a company? Yes. But then it very much depends, because you always, when you're moving to the Czech Republic, you always need to have a reason to be here. Czech Republic is not really open country visa-wise. We don't give visas easily. So there is no like investment visa where you just buy a property above 200,000 euros like it is in Spain or Portugal, I believe, and you get immediately like directly residence permit. Czech Republic doesn't have anything like that. We don't have any retirement kind of visa. We do have a digital nomad visa kind of, but only limited to 8 nationalities and only IT and marketing. So you always need to have some connection to the Czech Republic. So it doesn't have to be a job like employment, but would have to be a business then, or family, or studies. And that's kind of it. There is a cultural visa, but that's very kind of specific as well. So there are ways, but it depends on where are you from, why you want to move here, and what you actually want to do here. There is definitely not a visa for I just want to live there because I like it there. Here. Okay, guys, thank you very much for joining. This was a good live stream, good questions, and I'll see you again Monday, Thursday, until the end of the world. Good night, guys.